Good afternoon. Today is January the 19th. I guess it's about 1:11 p.m. and today I am going to prepare my famous, I shouldn't say my famous, somebody's famous spice rub pork chops. This is a Weight Watchers friendly entree, and we're going to have drizzled green beans with it. So for this particular meal, you need approximately 1.5 teaspoons of chili powder. You also need 2 teaspoons of ground cumin. You also need 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce and 1 wedge of a lemon. So that yields about a half a teaspoon of lemon juice. And also you need 3 tablespoons of unpacked brown sugar, and I just use C&H dark brown sugar. No particular brand is mandatory. And then of course you need 2 20-ounce pork chops, and you can get the bone in. I know some people don't like the bone in, but when I'm doing pork chops, I like the bone in. So I just usually pat dry my pork chops after I clean them and wash them, and just kind of leave them on the cutting board until I get ready for them. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to mix our sauce. This is the glaze that goes over the pork chop. So the first thing we want to do, and I use these little Weight Watchers teaspoons just because they're convenient. So the first thing we want is to add 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. And then 1.5 teaspoons of chili powder, 1.5 tablespoons of chili powder. And I always like to use a leveled teaspoon. And then we want to add the 3 teaspoons of unpacked brown sugar. That's 2. And then 2 teaspoons of ground cumin. Not so easy to come out of this one. And then just 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. And I always just take it off because it makes it just easier to pour. And then we're going to add the 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, and I'm going to go ahead and just rinse this out. Okay, so from that point, I'm just going to mix this. And it should come out like a little paste or rub, because this is a rub for the pork chops. So we have a nice little paste like rub here. And if your brown sugar was anything like mine, you just want to make sure that there's no lumps in it. And so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to rub this on both sides of the pork chop. And so you're supposed to use a cooking sheet or a broil pan. I usually just use this cooking sheet for everything. And we're going to spray it with some cooking spray. And I already have the oven preheating, so it's going to be nice and hot. So what we'll do, we'll take the first pork chop, and what I like to do is just take it like I'm spreading jam or something, and I hold it in my hand just to do the first side before I lay it on the sheet. And just make sure it's covered real good. And then I take that, I'm just going to lay it on the sheet nicely, and then I'll take a little bit and do the other side. Okay, and then we'll do the same with the other one. And as you see, this is just enough for 2 nice 20-ounce pork chops. And the original recipe calls that you cut the fat off of the pork chops, but since the calories for this recipe are so low, I like to leave the fat on just for a nice crispy taste. Gives it just a nice little flavor, just to have leave the little fat on there. And these were already pretty well trimmed anyway, so I didn't say I need to cut the additional fat off. And so we've got that spread just nicely on that side. And now I'm going to lay this on the cookie sheet, and then go ahead and spread the other side. Just enough for 2 nice sized pork chops. And the key is that you want to just make sure the entire pork chop is covered with this rub, so that the flavor goes all the way through and it's consistent on the entire pork chop. Okay, we've got that. And so we're going to put these in the oven and broil for 4 minutes on each side. So if you have a timer, I would suggest that you use your timer, and I'm going to set my timer for 4 minutes, and then I'll come and flip them and then let them broil for 4 minutes or until there's no more pink in the middle, and then you're done, and then you'll have the nice finished pork chops. And then we'll take the green beans and basically season them to taste, drizzle a little bit of lemon juice on them, and then you have a meal that took about a total of 40, maybe 40 minutes, if that, prep time and cook time. Thank you for joining me today, and you have been with Chef Duncan.